YouTube, how the heck you doing? This is Corey here with Watcher Realms. This is going to be a new series that I'm going to go ahead and try out and just go through every single legendary hero in the game, and I'll honestly get to the epics as well at some point, but we're just going to go ahead and start off with the legendary. So this one is going to be for Valkyra. How do you build her? Where does she kind of specialize in? And is she a good unit? So I'm just going to go cut straight to the chase. Yes, she is a good unit. She's not the best in the game, but she is very, very good because honestly, you can use her in Gear Dungeon 1. You can use her in Gear Raid 1. You can use her in Guild v Guild a little bit. She is pretty good for Arena, at least with the current state of Arena. She's really good when it comes to the faction trials. And overall, she's kind of like one of those safe units that you can almost put her anywhere and she will at least do a decent job. Now, the reason for that is because she does go ahead and inflict magic vulnerability, which is really good, and she has a very, very high range. And so when I say high range, I'm talking about, let's see here, she has a 3 tile range, and then whenever she's A1, she gets an additional tile of range, which is what really goes ahead and kind of pushes her over the line whenever we're talking about something such as Gear Dungeon 1, which she's really, really good for the top half of the map because she can kind of snipe down those units and get you some comfort with just beating that type of content in general. So these are her stats. It's nothing too crazy, right? She's not known for being a very high DPSer, but she's really known for just having a good revive, which is going to be off of this skill here, right? And then in addition to her revive, she does provide like a decent consistent amount of damage with her 120% AoE damage off of her passive basic attack, right? So that's the good part about her. Now, she also scales up consistently as the fight prolongs. So by the time this is fully scaled up, you're looking at about 7% every 11 seconds, 8 times, right? So she really does ramp up pretty quickly whenever you're just leaving her in the map, especially whenever you consider units don't just instantly spawn up and get to you. She's usually able to go ahead and stack up 2, 3, maybe 4 versions of her passive by the time you really get the fight going. So those are kind of a little bit of her skills. Now, the most important thing with Valkyra is you want to go ahead and build her in Infernal Roar. There's a lot of different variations as to how you want to build her based on the content that you're doing, but as you progress in the game, the most important thing is attack bonus, right? So when I say that, we're looking at the right side set. You want to go ahead and push as much attack bonus as you possibly can because units in this game tend to have a higher physical damage defense whenever you get later into the game. So we go ahead, build an Infernal Roar, attack bonus. Now, I will say Valkyra is not good for Guild Boss. You don't want to use her in Guild Boss. She's nice for a lot of content, but with content where you're really trying to push numbers and just hardcore DPS, she's not that good. The best way to kind of think about her is like a utility fighter. She's good for like a codex, something that's super, super long, and you don't necessarily need raw DPS. You just need AoE damage to whittle down your enemies. Those are the types of content that she kind of thrives in. Also, fortunately, she does have an exclusive piece of gear. Now, it's a little bit interesting because her exclusive piece of gear tends to roll very well for people. Whenever they initially release the exclusive gear, you'd see people pull the Valkyra exclusive and you'd just get god rolls like this, right? Now, this isn't perfect. I wish this rage regen was actually attack speed, but this is also one of the things as to why she's really good. Her ult does a lot of damage over time because she's just going ahead and pumping it out. And honestly, her ult lasts a decent chunk of time. So rage regen is a little bit helpful because you go ahead and get that uptime. It's a little bit harder to go ahead and bait out her ult if it's like a GVG kind of point of view. But that's kind of what you're looking for. And then also, right, because of Wicked Vengeance being her weapon, you want to go ahead and complete this set, which is going to be another Wicked Vengeance set. If you don't have a really good exclusive artifact, that's more than fine, because honestly speaking, you're not really going to get a good exclusive piece of gear for her. I apologize, I said artifact. You're not going to get a good piece of gear for her until later down the line. You're more than fine with going ahead and using a Warlord set, or even before you're able to get to a Warlord set, using a Calamity is more than fine, right? Anything that just gives you attack damage or attack bonus, that's what you're looking for, especially the percentage. That's just really necessary, and I keep harping on that mainly because she has a low base number for attack. So whenever you're able to stack it up, it makes her really viable overall. Now, once again, when it comes to gear, you're using Inferno Roar. You want attack bonus. You absolutely need crit rate. That's a guarantee. Every single piece has to have crit rate. Crit damage, that's just a nice kind of added part of this. You want crit damage for her. Anything that you're able to do to go push that number for damage, go ahead and do it. Now, attack speed, also very important, because attack speed means she's going to hit faster, which means she's going to do more damage, which means she's getting more AoEs, which means she's able to go ahead and deal with the swarms or a mass amount of units coming towards your tanks much better, right? Now, this is HP, which is unlucky. I suck. If this was attack, just flat attack, that'd be amazing. So that's what you're looking for. If you are running attack speed on this, it's okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. Eventually, you'll go ahead and get attack bonus, and you'll feel really good about the damage that she's outputting in general. Now, when it comes to her awakenings are a little bit interesting because first and foremost, right? The awakening one, you get that bonus attack range, which is amazing. The second awakening is attack percent, which is okay. This is typically what you'll see on these types of units. You'll get like a 5% attack or maybe 300 flat attack, but in her case, you get 5% attack. 3, damage increased based on shields. So one of the important things with Valkyra is whenever you go ahead and give her a shield and she ults, she also has the ability to get a bit of a range boost. Now let's go ahead and kind of pull this up here. So here we are, right? Increases damage by 50% for 30 seconds. That's whatever. We don't care about that. But she consumes any shield the hero has at present, increasing her attack range by 1, attack speed by 100, and damage up to 100% based on the strength of the shield. So pairing her with a Vortex is very common whenever you're doing like initial kind of playing Watcher of Realms. You can go ahead and get Gwendolyn if you already have her. That's amazing because Gwendolyn's whole thing is giving shields, right? So this is kind of where the shields come in, but using a shield for Valkyra is not 100% mandatory for her to do damage. Most of the time, people don't even put a shield on her, right? There's a lot of other units that are better in terms of healing and just in general for the game than Vortex, for example, or Gwendolyn. So you don't need to guarantee, like, force yourself into shields. In addition to that, you pair her with a Northerner Lord like Elder, Hars, Isolde. You're fine. You're going to get a shield that way. You don't need to worry about shields when it comes to Valkyra, honestly speaking. Now, we're going back to the A4. A4 is crit rate plus 5, which is always nice, right? It kind of helps you get a little bit more flexibility with your gearing, but it's not too pivotal. It's just not too pivotal. Now, the A5 is really nice. The A5 is nice because whenever an ally is revived, remember, she has that passive revive, only being done once, right? Both the ally and the hero get a divine blessing of damage for about 10%. So they get 100% damage, which is essentially doubling their damage for that time period, 10 seconds. So it's really nice, especially if like your Horus dies or your Valkyra dies, your Olog dies. She's going to go ahead and revive them. Most important thing, they have to be in front of her. They have to be in front of her for that to happen. It's not like a global revive or something like that. They have to be in front. Then they both get buffed. Now, it doesn't really matter for the tank, like who cares, but she's getting that damage buff, which is very important because then she'll really start to chunk out those enemies, right? Her whole thing is dealing with swarms. Now, when it comes to artifacts are a little bit interesting because there are so many different artifacts in this game that really do work for her. Like, for example, you can use Realm Tier, which is really good because obviously you gain more damage the further the units are away from you. Now, with this case, with Valkyra, who has the potential for a 4-tile range, that's nice. You're getting basically the full Realm Tier effect off the gate, realistically. Like, honestly, you just get it. Now, you have also her exclusive artifact, which is pretty good. The difference is her exclusive artifact is mainly giving her shields. So as she's hitting, she's getting those shields, so she's able to chunk out more damage whenever she is in her ult. But, let's be real, there's better alternatives than her exclusive artifact. It's very much relying on using shields, and it's just not giving you initial damage. And that's her thing, right? She needs damage up front to be good. You can't really just wait and bank on her ult because her basic attacks just don't do that much damage in general unless you're really turbocharging with attack bonus and things that just give you upfront I'm strong now. So usually you don't see glacial wings being used. Occasionally, you'll see Frigid Flame being used, which is increases damage by 11% for 4 seconds when no damage is taken. This is nice, but also, right, you're comparing this at this point to Realm Tier, which Realm Tier is probably going to outperform Frigid Flame in most content, because most of the content that Valkyra is used in, she has the potential to be hit, right? Guild v Guild, she's going to get hit. Most definitely, eventually, she's going to get hit. If you're thinking about, what's it called? Gear Dungeon 1, Volca does her AoE hit. That's the potential to go ahead and kind of set this all ablaze, right? There's a lot of content that she's good in, but she's going to get hit by AoE damage in the process of it. Even in Arena, she's going to be used for AoE Arena, and she has the ability to get hit by the bugs, so, or the rats. So that's just the state of it. So she is really good, mainly in Realm Tier. So that's the one you're primarily going to see, at least as of right now. Sometimes you'll see somebody go ahead and put her in a Wailing Skull, but that's a little bit niche, and that's mainly for Arena, just because Wailing Skull allows a little bit of interesting strats to occur. So that's Valkyra. That's honestly the best ways to build her. Just go ahead, pump her full of attack damage, full of attack bonus, maximize the crit, try to push as much attack speed as you can, and she's going to really, really shine for you. And once again, right, content like your Gear Dungeon 1, content like Arena, sometimes Guild v Guild, faction trials, things like this. Even in artifact material raid, gold raid, even tide, right? Anything that you can think of where there's a lot of units just rushing at you, she's going to have at least some viability due to her AoE basic attacks. See ya.